Hello and welcome back to another Space Engineers mod showcase video. Now if you're interested in my terror videos, I'll have one coming out shortly after this on a Friday, but as for now we're looking at the SCUD launcher. Now this is a surface to air missile launcher, unlike anything I have ever seen. It's not using a traditional missile launcher, it is using thrusters to shoot this massive missile filled with warheads at your enemies. And don't you worry about this over here, this is my little player base that I use in survival, because it's my little secret base which goes all the way under the ground and has little secrets down there that you shall never know about. So the SCUD launcher itself doesn't have that much on the outside. It has a few cameras, it has a few little access points for the small reactors and small cargo containers, but other than that, everything else is done via a cockpit. So over on the front here we have 4 cockpits, 2 at the front and 2 slightly behind. The ones on the right hand side, on this side over here, have nothing in them, so if I hopped in there, bring up the bar, there is nothing you can do in here. This is just a simple passenger seat. However, if I hop into the front seat, you'll see I have some controls. Now 3 and 4 are cameras to look behind you, and 1 and 2 are how you raise and lower the missile. So if I go into third person, remove the HUD and zoom out, and then press number 1, it will start the raising of the missile. And as you can see there, the actual truck itself did flip around a bit, so that is something you have to watch out. Make sure the surface you're on is flat as it can be. I'm on a slight angle here, so it is a little bit wobbly as the missile goes around. If you are on uneven surface, then the missile is just going to flop your little vehicle around and perhaps tip over. Now as you can see, the missile is being lowered and it will keep lowering to the floor. This is another reason why I said you need to have the surface flat. As you can see there, it does touch the floor, and if you're on an angle, then the missile will be at an angle. And there goes the safety rail, and we are now ready for launch. Now in case the surface you're on is not even, we can now hop into the back seat and we'll have 2 more controls. Well, 1 more control to be specific. And that is to raise or lower the missile for firing. So let's say this is an uneven floor and the missile is now sitting at an angle. You can come into the back here, press number 1, and it will raise up the missile just a little bit so it's sitting off the floor. This way the missile is now sitting at a perfectly even angle rather than being at an odd angle and perhaps clipping your ship and exploding. Now on one side of the ship we have a auto fire, and on the right side of the ship we have a manual control. Now the auto fire in itself, if I come over here, is very limited. We have a little camera here. This is the camera you saw on the side. If I press number 2, it will raise and lower the camera, and if I press number 3, it will start the launch sequence for the missile, but unfortunately it will only go straight up. And there goes the missile. Goodbye missile, we rarely knew ye. And that's what the auto firing does. It just launches the missile straight up into the air. The developers said that they were going to use a mod in order to have the missile auto target an enemy, but unfortunately that didn't quite work out for him, so this side of the little car will only shoot the missile directly up into the air. So if I now head over to the second one, and this was the reason why I spawned in 2 SCUD launchers, was because I needed to show off both the little missiles. So if we start this again, let's just hop in here. There we go, press number 1. That will start the launch sequence. Up it comes again. It's very fancy how it does all of this. So it launches the missile straight up like this. It then lowers it down and removes the little safety guard, and you're ready to fire. Okay, so the missile has now lowered and the safety guard has gone down. You can see the little safety guard is a wibbling and a wobbling around. There is not much I can do about that, unfortunately, because the ground is uneven where it's standing. So if I now fly around to the right hand side, we will now get a new set of controls. So inside here, we have a remote control, we have a camera, we have a thruster, we have a missile lock which unlocks the missile and allows you to fly, and we have the arm, the warheads inside. Now what I am going to do is bring another little button over here and have detonate. Why? Because sometimes when you crash it into something, it doesn't explode, unfortunately. So I'm just going to arm the missile head, and then when I get close to a target, I'm just going to detonate it myself. So number 1, here is the camera view. Nothing special, is it? And number 2, we have now the thrusters turned on, and hold up on my controls, we shall start flying away. So here we go. As you can see, the meters are now increasing as I'm going up in the air. I'm just going to go up to around about 200 meters, and then do a little flip around, and aim for my lovely base. So there is my lovely base. Here we come, and I'm going to detonate it as soon as I get close. Kaboom! There we go. How much damage did it deal? Not a lot, apparently. I took out one solar panel and a tree, which is quite odd. Very odd, in fact. I don't even know what was going on there. So there's the missile itself. It didn't really detonate, unfortunately. It didn't really detonate. You can see in the front here where all the little missiles are, but for some reason they didn't want to detonate that time. So what I am going to do is quickly reload it and launch a new missile and hopefully get a better result. So I've loaded back in and we are ready to launch the missile again. So if I go into the camera number 1, activate the thrusters, remove the lock, and up we go. So hopefully the warhead should now explode when I actually press 5 to detonate them. So we've got some nice height. We're going to come round again and try and detonate it into my base. So here we go, all the way down to here, and spoosh. That's more like it. A nice big freeze, tons of explosion sounds. That's exactly what we want. Good old space engineers. Now hopefully I can just like exit out of this view. I'm hoping the game doesn't crash because I know there was a lot of warheads inside there. But unfortunately I think we have crashed the game. Ooh, whoa, okie dokie. So that's something. The game is trying so hard to catch up with what just happened there. My goodness. Unfortunately, the game has seemingly completely frozen due to the sheer explosion of the SCUD launcher. So if you want to try this yourself, and hopefully you have a better computer than I do when you do this, it'll be in the description below for you to download and try yourself. And I shall be back with another Space Engineers video some point soon. Bye bye.